Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope that you guys are all having a great start to your morning. Just paying attention to these different futures. Today it is July 10th, 2019, and today it's Wednesday. We have the crude oil report, right? And one of the things that I do want to point out with crude oil is that since the market closed, even during all market hours and pre-market hours, so this is during after market hours, this is when the market's closed, so over midnight, right, leading up to pre-market hours, crude oil has been showing signs of a consistent uptrend. It's been trading between the middle and top VWAP. It's been doing a very beautiful job with that. So for all those that are that traded UWT, congrats. 7.39% is what it was able to cover, with highs of 15.82. So let me go ahead and make this just a little bit smaller so I can see you guys' messages. Here we go. What's up? What's up? How are you guys all feeling this morning? How are we doing? /GC. Huge push up, right? Became overbought, became overextended. So we're still not necessarily making lower lows after it's built this support, but just a little heads up that if this thing begins to sell off, then that might be in favor of JDST, right? Just a little heads up on that. So all right, so I see that a lot of you guys are excited for what's it called, the crude oil report. I do want to remind you that based off of how it looks like, it looks like it's most likely gonna roll right now. Crude oil is showing signs of an uptrend due to all the news and the weather forecast and stuff like that. That's been pushing the demand back up, which I think is great. At the end of the day, for all those that are joining us and that are new this week, that might be asking, how is it that I normally trade it? And just because I do it this way does not mean that you have to. I don't actually trade the report. So I don't buy and try to, assume which one's going to go up and which one's going to go down. So this report comes out and it's instant, right? The report comes out and there's an instant reaction of what drives the price up and what drives and which one goes down. Because we don't know which one's going to go up and which one's going to go down, what I normally like to happen is that, since crude oil is showing signs of an uptrend all today, right? I would like it to be not in favor of crude oil. I would like crude oil to sell off. And then once that news for that report becomes less relevant, it will then begin to recover, most likely. This doesn't always happen right away. Last week we saw it with natural gas report. It recovered right away. Sometimes it literally takes the entire trading day. And sometimes it doesn't even recover at all throughout the entire day. So one of the things that I want to remind you is just to be extremely selective with your entry point. Don't be so quick to get into anything or try to guesstimate, right? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but based off my experience, it's probably not the best to try to guess which one's going to go up and which one's going to go down. If this is the first time that you've ever been a part of any of the reports, right, that we've been trading, then I would just, well, first of all, welcome, and second, I would just say maybe watch how people react, watch how it performs, and build kind of like your eye for value when it comes down to this specific kind of like style of trading. So no, Asher, we can't have that. Alrighty. But yeah, I'm pumped. I'm gonna give it some time, hopefully. So as a lot of you guys know, during these reports, I normally don't take a position leading up to the report, and if I do, it has to be something that's offering like clear direction. So right now we have about 23 minutes until the report comes out. 23 minutes, right? And looking at crude oil, it definitely makes sense on why it can begin to sell off. I think that we could agree on that, right? So it's been showing signs of this kind of like flow of where it rides the top VWAP and then it sells off and then it rides the SMA line and then it pushes up and stuff like that. So I think that we could all see that pattern in that direction. But there's nothing other than /GC that I would say that, looks like some big activity can happen that would be in any way attractive. Looking at /NG, yeah, I mean, it pushed up quite a bit, right? It has quite a bit of margin to pull back. With this one, this is one definitely that I would pay attention to, just because it pushed up a lot like during pre-market hours. So if there were to be a change of direction, right, as we saw that this thing was flatlining, and then as soon as the market began to get close to market open, it began to uptrend. One of the things that, again, it's not about predicting reversals, but as and if this thing approaches, the SMA line in the middle VWAP, be very careful with trying to get back in and hoping for there to be a bounce. Just understand that there is some factor that drove the price up, and if that relevance or that catalyst isn't there anymore, then we might see a change of direction and this thing come back down to this general area. So natural gas, sort of clear direction compared to Ford/CL. Yeah, I would say to an extent. There's definitely a nice little consistent uptrend with the overall SMA line and middle VWAP as a potential support, but nothing super crazy, right? So it's definitely still pushing up. The biggest thing is just, as of right now, I still see it a little bit more on the overextended side. So again, I have 21 minutes until the report comes out for crude oil, and I want to make sure that I have my capital available to trade. And as of right now, I just see this a little bit more on the overbought side. I see a lot of downside and pullback potential, right? In comparison to I think that it can continue to uptrend, but the deal just isn't there. And that's just my opinion. At the end of the day, you're the sole decision maker on what you choose to trade. And here we go. Ford/CL beginning to show a little bit more signs of a sell-off. I don't know exactly how much it's going to sell off. Looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, I'd say probably anywhere around this general area to hopefully above the SMA line, but we'll see. So do you have any feeling when you'll start feeling more comfortable trading with higher than more than $100,000? As of right now, no. I'm waiting right now. Not waiting, right? But as we all know, right, losses are inevitable, and I have not taken a huge loss yet, and I know it's bound to happen, right? So I want to see how I deal with that. Do you get what I'm saying? I want to see how I how that hits me first. So I know it's going to happen. I've never had a $10,000 day before I started trading with $100,000 when it comes down to trading the stock market, and I had one shortly after I started trading. So just as much money as I could make, I know if I either overtrade, bag hold, don't manage my risk, it could be very easy to, a big loss for me. I mean, you tell me, right? Anywhere from 5 to 10% to hopefully not more than that. That could be a hit, right? So I want to see how I just react to a big loss. It's definitely not a position that I want to put myself in, but I know it's something that's going to happen. So that's kind of what I'm not just waiting out for. There's a lot of things. I need to build more confidence with my trading, with a larger dollar amount, and I still feel like I have a lot of time to build more experience with trading with that larger capital. So I'm not in a rush, and I'm very happy with, I can trade for about 1 to 2 hours and normally hit my daily goal, and I'm very happy with that. So. I'd rather attempt to do something great than fail than do nothing to succeed. Yeah. Currently in any positions? No. Right now I am watching. I tried to sleep in. I don't know if you guys could tell. I sent out the message, and I don't know if you guys could agree with me, but that's one of the worst feelings. I'm, what's it called? I wake up right for market open, and I'm wide awake. I woke up at 4 o'clock to set my alarm just to see if anything was attractive, and I didn't find too many things attractive. I woke up at 5, didn't find that attractive. But it's that ongoing cycle of waking up, going back to sleep, waking up, going back to sleep. And then when you get so close to when I have to wake up, it's I feel like the last 20 minutes, like I should just be awake already, because the last 20 minutes are like so stressful that I don't want to like oversleep, that I don't get restful sleep, and but I still try to. So all right, so we got /CL, still not selling off, but still below the EMA line. So quick question, what exactly is a report? So we're looking we're watching the crude oil report today. So crude oil, which is a commodity, right, sends out a report, and we've shared this link in, what's it called, the Learn Plan Profit chats multiple times, but it's instantaneous. They send out a, what's it called, the heck, they send out a report on a weekly basis, and it's pretty much just like their overall like supply and demand, right, for that specific week, and sometimes they have forecasts and stuff like that. But depending on that report, it's kind of like, it drives the price up or it drives the price down, depending if it's positive or negative or with or against that specific commodity. So within Learn Plan Profit, we like to focus on 2 reports. On Wednesdays is the crude oil report, and then on Thursdays it's the natural gas report. So all right. So what I started trading with 100K with paper money to practice with your emotions. I mean, for me, I don't know if you're asking me, but obviously there would be a distinct difference, and I do trade already to, make a living, right? So I don't need to continue to refer back to paper trading. I would just say for paper trading, the reason that I find it so effective for a lot of newer traders is due to the idea that, it's kind of like training wheels, right? For when you're just getting started, there's so many concepts and there's so many different strategies and approaches and niches within the market. You don't know exactly which one you're going to find the most attractive and which one's going to work the best for you, right? Because just because it works well for me or it works well for someone else doesn't mean that it's going to work well for you specifically, right? So with paper trading, you're allowed to practice all these different concepts, and try to refine them without having to lose any money. That's kind of the idea in mind. All right. Ricky, what are your experiences with options? I don't trade them, and I don't trade them. And why? I just don't. I like that, Chris. I like that. All right, I'm gonna set a couple of alerts. All right, guys, we have about 13 minutes until the crude oil report. Here we go. So upsetting seeing you guys go up 30 more cents after I sold. It's all good as long as you did your part, Chris, in getting out when you saw it to be overbought. You can't control how high it goes, and yes, I get it that it can be viewed as a missed opportunity, but just as much as it could have gone up, what if it would have gotten rejected before you sold, right? You would have not been saying that. So at the end of the day, don't get upset with things you cannot control. Just do your part as an investor and as a trader, to get in for a good deal, and that at any indication, think about this long term, at any indication of a resistance or why you should sell because it's not a good deal, to take action. Because at the end of the day, if you always have that mentality that the last time I sold, I could have made a little bit more money if I held a little bit longer. It only takes one trade for you to say that and for it to not go according to plan, right? And then if that trade then begins to like actually get rejected and then goes from green to red, it's going to discourage you. So long-term best practices, in my opinion, I think it's always best just to lock in profits. Of course, Chris and Nathaniel, I agree. Is Ricky using a larger screen? It seems like his view up. Possibly, but also you can control this, right? With how close they are just by dragging this up and down. So you just can control that yourself. I like to make it as big as I can, so yeah. You guys have some pretty, you guys have quite a bit of questions today. Danson, what's up, what's up? 11 minutes till the report, or 10 minutes now, right? We got natural gas that pulled back to the EMA line. That was quite a bit of a pullback. Can we make lower lows? Be very careful with this one. Money / position management is huge. Ryan, I agree. I love when you guys say that. It like really, like I don't know exactly even for like you, Ryan, how long you've been trading, but that's such like a, like let's not just say it, let's do it, because that's such an important part of trading and investing in general. And these concepts that you guys are like, you know, working with every day, it's just proof comes to show that like how much quicker you guys are learning in comparison to like how I did, right? It took me so much longer for these concepts to make sense. First of all, I think like younger, so it took a little bit longer for me to understand them, and then on top of that, for me to actually learn from those mistakes. So what are your thoughts about a swing trade until winter for natural gas? Aaron, we've had so many people ask that question, and the easiest way for me to put that is patterns speak for themselves. I don't think the pattern or the direction is in favor of, let's say, natural gas. So yes, I can see why, because you might see it a little bit more on the oversold side, and you can see how it can begin to recover. Trust me, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to, and I would just hate for you to be put in a bad situation in hope of what you hope happens. I think it's best for you just to be patient, wait for confirmation, and if that opportunity does present itself, then you earned it, right? Because you were patient enough for you to wait for it. And I think that's what distinguishes someone that will be successful and someone that will not be successful in the stock market, and it's how you discipline yourself when it comes down to your entry points and sell points, especially with day trading. Good morning from the Sunshine State. What's going on, Justin? How many of you guys are tuning in to the TechButt Solutions Q&A? Any of you? Nope. You're like, heck no, we're not tuned into that. What is the difference between TechBuds and Learn Plan Profit? TechBuds is free, and I don't necessarily work with that group every day, right? And then Learn Plan Profit is a group that I work with when it comes down to direct messages, engage with in like the main chat or any questions that you guys tag me on, and then that I trade live with every day. So yeah, TechBuds is just where we can connect people that that are like-minded, right? That's how we started, where we wanted to provide an option that's free, just to incubate a welcoming environment. But there's not as much. The easiest way for me to put it is there's not as much structure. I don't want to say, Spencer, that I treat you guys better. It's just you just have to think about it this way. You guys took initiative in joining Learn Plan Profit, so there's this like unspoken like mentality that we each have, and it's much more serious, and our intentions for the stock market are much more serious, right? Because of that commitment that we took to join Learn Plan Profit. Do you get what I'm saying? So because of that commitment, it reassures me that like the time that I spend with you and the conversations that we have should and will be much more of value, because TechBud Solutions is free. Anybody can join, and regardless if their intention is either malicious or actually trying to learn, you don't know, because anybody can join. So yeah. Yeah, Craig, I agree. We have a lot of people asking about the report. I want you guys to know. We'll share the link in the Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, but I want to remind you that the report is instantaneous. So it's not going to be any better for you to see the report. Like I don't even look at the reports when it comes out, because it's so instant that I just wait for the reaction. I wait for the reaction, and then I trade the recovery. Once the confirmation is there, of course. Sometimes before the confirmation, and then it ends up biting me in the butt. Just a perfect example of why you should be extremely patient. All right, team. All right. Got a job interview today. What's going on, Fernando? Woo, woo. I like hearing that. It's always good. Have you or do you trade with other people's money? No, Ryan. And I've made that very clear before. There's a bunch of like fake accounts that will pretend to be me. I only have one Instagram account, and I never reach out to you via email. We have info@techbudsolutions.com and info@learnplanprofit.com. And if you ever receive a message asking for personal information or money, or to trade for other people, or crypto or Bitcoin or all that stuff, not me. Yeah, that's never been something that I do. So natural gas with that recovery. Sergio. Yeah, Vlad, we can test that out just today. So the report comes out in 3 minutes, and if you guys watched yesterday's video, I'm hosting a live stream just for Q&As for our beginner traders in TechBud Solutions. So I want to also welcome you there. So if you have open-ended questions, not just like technical analysis, but open-ended questions, so it's a little different than our Sunday stock talk, then tune in. Just be in the Facebook group, and it'll alert you when I go live. I'm just going to answer questions, and that I need to start getting ready for that shortly after this live stream. So I'm going to probably end this live stream around like 7:32, 7:35. So yeah, I had a little bit more of a larger focus today in being here for the report, and then also answering those questions. So, whoa, crude oil with that. Yep, Carlos, that's a very that's crazy. What's been 728? PNG and you for years. Oh, it's gonna be way too much to read right now. The report for crude oil comes out in less than 45 seconds. Sweet Vlad. What's going on, George? What's up? What's up? All right. All right, which way do you guys think it's going to go? We have 20 seconds left, so just a friendly reminder to close out your positions if you do not want to be affected by the report. A friendly reminder. Okay? So if this goes up, in favor of UWT. If this goes down, in favor of DWT. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, in favor of crude oil, which makes sense. Oh, it's pulling back pretty quick. You have to give it time, right? We have to give it time. But it makes sense based off of all the news that's been recently released. And then on top of that, just the clear direction of /CL today. It's been showing signs of very consistent uptrend pattern, not just all morning, but literally since the market closed yesterday, during aftermarket hours, during midnight, and then during pre-market hours. So there we go, a really strong push up. Does it make sense that this thing is bound to pull back? Yeah. So does DWT present a dip buy opportunity? To an extent, right? To an extent, but one of the things that we definitely want to take into consideration is the idea that it doesn't have to pull back right away. So be very selective with where you choose to enter and where you choose to exit. So just a little heads up on that. And again, even if you miss out for this opportunity of the crude oil report, I want to remind you guys that it's not the end of the world. You guys have weeks and weeks and weeks and years, right, to trade these. Please don't try to think of this as a make it or break it. You have time and you're still learning, right? You're still refining yourself and you're still practicing. So it looks like it already recovered. Okay. The reports have been so much more, and let me know if you agree, but last week with natural gas and how that recovered so quickly, I have not seen that in months. It does not normally recover that quickly. The same thing with crude oil. It's been weeks since I've seen crude oil recover at such a quick rate. Like this is, I remember when I first started trading the reports, this is how it would normally trade. And look, it looks like it might be actually changing its direction now. Yeah. In my experience, it normally takes about 30 minutes to about an hour for it to consolidate up there, for it to become less relevant, and then it pulls back. Usually, it's not this quick. Again, usually. Okay, that's also another thing. So gush and drip should have been somewhat influenced, right, by this. So you can see that gush had a nice little push up, but not a huge influence, and this one drip had a little bit of a pullback. So I like that. So I'm going to do a quick little recap on kind of what's trending up and what's trending down, right? So we got, this is a perfect example, and guys, agree with me or just say yes or no. If you have ever traded a natural gas report or a crude oil report, this is normally what it looks like. It pushes up, it continues to slowly push up, it flatlines, and then it takes literally like 1 or 2 hours sometimes up here, and then it will slowly begin to correct itself. That is normally what I've experienced. The pushes up and the pullbacks are just too quick and don't normally happen, at least not in the past couple of months. And again, and this is a perfect example of like, even when you think that you have a perfect working system and how patience can go a long way, this is, the market's always changing, so you always have to be on your toes. So I like this. I'm going to set my alert for this thing to potentially be pulling back, and then we'll just keep an eye on the bear ETFs for gold, such as like what is it, JDST, and I think it's what is it, DUST, right? And then we got crude oil here. So crude oil with that push up, it's still an overall uptrend, so just watch if there's a potential change of direction. Be very careful with that. If this thing begins to trade below the middle VWAP, just be very well aware of that. We got /NQ. I believe, yeah, we're showing signs of a very consistent uptrend pattern. So look at this. This might be trying to show signs of a reversal. So maybe waiting for higher highs and seeing if this thing can continue to push up and seeing if it follows through with SQQs and TQQQ. Or I think I might have said too many Qs on that one. We're getting a lot of consolidation, and you guys can make of what you want of this. We're getting a lot of consolidation at this general price point for natural gas. So I set my alert here. If this thing begins to sell off, then great. I have to jump on the Q&A within the TechBud Solutions Facebook group. So no positions right now, but I'll keep you guys up to date as that Q&A is going to be about like 15-20 minutes around there, so not very long, and then I'll get back to trading hopefully. So hopefully all this action does not happen by the time that I'm gone. But there you go. So pretty much natural gas is an overall uptrend right now. I don't see it to be a good deal, and I see there to be a potential pullback opportunity. So although no trading today, at least for me, I still think that we did a really good job planning out what we see and what we plan to do, which I think is like great. There's no reason that we have to take a position within the first hour of the market open. Be selective, be patient, and make sure that opportunity presents itself to you. Only take action when it actually makes sense. So really do appreciate you guys' time. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to direct message me and then I'll get back to you. But I hope that you guys can tune in to the TechBud Solutions Q&A if you have specific questions that I can just answer there for you. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. Make someone smile today. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.